My beloved child, come near to me in stillness, for there are cries within you that never become words, yet your body still hears them. There are tears you have swallowed, sorrows you have buried deep, fears you have tried to cover with a smile, and you thought that as long as you did not mention them, they would disappear. But no, my child, what is buried does not always die. Many times it remains silently within you, becoming an invisible weight, making your breath shallower, your sleep more restless, your heart more weary, and causing your body to carry what you were meant to bring before me. I do not say this to frighten you, but so you may understand that true healing does not begin only from the outside. It begins in the hidden place, where you stop running from yourself and allow me to touch the places you have locked away for far too long. You have tried many times to appear fine. You said, "I'm okay," while inside you were utterly exhausted. You kept working, kept caring for others, kept smiling, kept holding yourself together as if your heart had never been wounded. But I see the parts you hide so carefully. I see the disappointment you do not dare to name. I see the fear you are afraid others will belittle. I see the anger you swallow because you think you must always be gentle. I see the loneliness you cover with busyness. And I want you to know that holiness is not pretending you are not in pain. True strength is not choking your emotions until they turn to stone. Maturity in me is knowing how to bring everything into the light, not to be condemned, but to be healed. Your body was wonderfully made, but it was not created to carry every unhealed pain in your place. When you hold on to bitterness, your body tightens like a bow drawn for too long. When you live in constant anxiety, every breath seems to run after things that have not yet happened. When you suppress sadness, weariness can creep into your very bones. When you keep blaming yourself, the peace within you is worn down little by little. These things are not merely passing emotions. They can become a real burden, pressing upon your strength, your sleep, your clarity, and even your ability to receive joy. Therefore, I do not only want you to be comforted by words. I want you to be untangled at the root, renewed from within, and return to the lightness I intended for you. Do not see prayer as a distant ritual reserved only for solemn moments. Prayer is the living breath between you and me. It is the lifeline that connects your heart to the unfailing source of peace. When you pray, you are not merely reciting beautiful words. You are opening the door for me to enter the chaos, the fear, the suffocation, the places not yet named. There are prayers that are only sighs, but I hear them. There are prayers with no structure, only tears, but I understand them. There are prayers that break forth from an exhausted heart that no longer knows what to ask except, "Father, please help me." And it is there that my grace begins to flow. Prayer does not make you escape reality. Prayer brings your reality into my presence, where everything is seen beneath the light of healing. Do you remember the story of Elijah? He once stood powerfully before the crowds, witnessed fire from heaven, and courageously faced opposition. But afterward, he too reached a point of exhaustion, where he ran away, sat beneath a tree, and no longer wanted to go on. I did not come to him with rebuke, asking why one who was called could be so weak in heart. I did not force him to stand up immediately to prove his faith. I sent an angel to bring him bread and water. I let him rest. I cared for his body before leading him farther. Then, in the quiet place, I did not appear in overwhelming noise, but in a gentle whisper, soft enough to touch the deepest part of him. Do you see? I do not separate your inner life from your outward body. I care for you as a whole. I know there are times when a meal, a night of sleep, a tender call, and a peaceful presence are also part of the miracle of healing. So do not despise the small signals your body is sending you. Lingering exhaustion, tightness in your chest, sleepless nights, pains with no clear cause, an unexplained heaviness. Sometimes these are reminders that you need to stop and listen. Not so you can panic, and not so you can condemn yourself, but so you can ask me, Father, what within me needs to be touched? What have I held for too long? What do I need to release? What do I need to speak honestly before you? I do not want you to heal only the symptoms while forgetting the root. I want you to learn to live in truth, because truth in my light does not crush you. It sets you free. Some people think trusting me means they do not need to acknowledge pain. But my child, it is precisely because you trust me that you can admit you are hurting. It is because you know I am kind that you can honestly say you are afraid, tired, angry, sad, and that you do not understand. I am not offended by your honesty. I do not leave when you open the messy places. On the contrary, I enter them as a gentle physician. I do not merely bandage the outside. I go to the place where the wound began. I do not simply make the pain lessen for a moment. I teach you a new way of living, where emotions are no longer buried in darkness, but are brought before me, illuminated, purified, and led back into peace. Learn to release each burden in prayer. When fear rises, do not let it run wild through your mind like an untamed horse. Bring it to me and say, Father, I give this to you. When old memories return, do not pretend they do not touch you. Let me sit with you in that memory until it no longer has the power to make you tremble. When anger burns quietly within you, do not use it to wound yourself or others. Bring it into the light, so I may show you what pain needs healing, what boundary needs to be established, and what forgiveness needs to begin. When you are sad, weep before me. Tears in my presence are not weakness. They are streams washing away what you have held for too long. I also want you to care for your body as part of loving obedience. Rest is not laziness when you are exhausted. Healthy nourishment is not a trivial matter. Slowing your breath, stepping into light, drinking water, sleeping enough, and seeking wise help when needed can all be ways you cooperate with the healing I am doing. Do not divide your life into two separate parts, one belonging to prayer and one belonging to the body. I created you as a whole, and I want my peace to touch every thought, every breath, every habit, every cell that has grown weary because you have carried too much. Today I invite you to return to a lighter life. Do not continue storing within yourself the things I have invited you to surrender. Do not let suppressed emotions become an invisible prison. Do not treat prayer as the last option after you have already been drained. Let prayer become your first breath each day. I am nearer to you than you think. I do not only want you to survive, I want you to be restored. I do not only want you to continue by willpower, I want you to walk in peace. Place your hand in mine. Bring your most painful places out of the darkness, and let me heal you from the inside out. When the hidden depths within you are released, your body will also learn the rhythm of rest again. Your mind will become clearer, your heart will soften, and you will realize that my presence does not only sustain you during hours of prayer, but also becomes a quiet stream of life nourishing you through each day. My beloved child, hear me speak to you with tenderness, yet also with holiness. You are not called to dissolve into the darkness, but to become a light in a place where people have grown accustomed to living in dimness. I did not place light within you, so you would hide it beneath fear, beneath shame, beneath silence, because you are afraid of being misunderstood. Nor am I waiting for you to become perfect before I use you. If I only used those who never tremble, never grow weak in heart, and never need to be lifted up, then no one could step into my work. What I seek in you is not a flawless appearance, but a heart that knows how to bow low, how to listen, how to say, "Father, I belong to you, lead me." That surrender is more precious than every boastful word, more beautiful than every false display of strength, and it has the power to open the way for my light to shine through your life. You often think you are too small to make a difference. You look at the vast world, at the loud voices, at the distortions being praised, at those who choose darkness while still calling themselves wise, and you wonder whether your humble life has any meaning at all. But my child, light does not need to argue with darkness to prove that it is light. A small lamp is enough for a traveler to see the path at night. A true spark is enough to remind someone in the cold that warmth still exists. A faithful heart, even when unseen by the crowd, can still become my sign in a place that has lost direction. Do not despise the portion of light I have placed within you, simply because it does not yet look like a great torch in the eyes of the world. What I anoint, I will also preserve. What I entrust, I will also give strength to complete. There will be times when you will not be understood. You choose to slow down when everyone else is rushing. You choose to speak truth when others choose clever concealment. You choose to keep your heart pure when the world calls compromise normal. You choose to forgive when people tell you that you should be hard. You choose to pray when others only know how to panic. And because of those choices, you may be seen as out of place, weak, difficult to understand, even foolish. But I want you to know this: faithfulness does not need the agreement of the crowd in order to have value. There are narrow roads that do not receive much applause, yet they lead you closer to me. There are no's that cause you to lose certain connections, but preserve deep peace. There are seasons when you stand alone before the right choice, but in truth you never stand alone. For I am there, quiet yet certain, like the rock beneath your feet. Do not let your imperfection become an excuse to hide from your mission. I know your cracks. I know the things you are still learning. I know the old habits that sometimes still pull you into weariness. I know the days when you want to shine, but feel that only cold ashes remain within you. But remember this: I do not call you light because you shine by yourself. You are light because I am in you. The moon has no light of its own, but when it turns toward the sun, it still softens the darkness of night. So it is with you. When you turn toward me, when you open your heart to my leading, when you do not hide your weakness but place it in my hands, my light will pass through you in a way you could never create on your own. Others may not see the full battle within you, but they can sense the peace that does not belong to this world, holding you steady. Remember Gideon, who once hid in fear, threshing wheat in a hidden place to avoid the enemy. In his own eyes, he was small, his family insignificant, and the calling upon him seemed far too great for his strength. But I saw him not according to his present trembling, but according to what I had already placed within him. I called him a mighty man before he felt mighty. I sent him before all his doubts disappeared, and I did not need a great army to reveal my power. I used the few, used obedience, used jars, torches, and trumpets so that darkness would tremble. Do you see? I am not limited by numbers, by reputation, by outward appearance, or by the fear of the one who is called. When I anoint a surrendered life, what appears small in human hands can become an instrument of deliverance in mine. Therefore, do not wait until you stop trembling before who you walk. There are trembling steps filled with obedience that are more precious than confidence. That does not need me. Do not wait until everyone understands you before you remain faithful. There are forms of faithfulness that heaven alone recognizes for a long time before you see fruit on earth. Do not wait until you have a great position before you live as one who has been sent. But a mission does not always begin on a high platform. It begins in the way you speak to the person beside you, in the way you guard your heart when no one sees, in the way you choose what is right under pressure, in the way you bring gentleness into a place full of bitterness, in the way you kindle hope for someone who is losing strength. Each day of your life can become a small altar where my presence is revealed through kindness, purity, courage, and quiet faith. I know the darkness can make you weary. It can make you think that living as light is too difficult, that keeping your heart upright is too lonely, that speaking the truth changes nothing. But my child, darkness does not win simply because it is loud. Falsehood does not become truth simply because many people repeat it. What is unclean does not become holy simply because it is dressed in beautiful words. You are not called to hate the world, but to love with a love that has not been polluted by the world. You are not called to stand proudly above others, but to humbly reflect me among them. True light does not despise those walking in the night. True light quietly opens a way home. Keep oil in your lamp, which means stay near to me. Do not try to shine by your own strength, for human strength will run dry. Do not live only by passing emotion, for emotions change. Return to the secret place where I renew you. Let prayer wash the dust of the road from your heart. Let obedience keep the flame within you from fading. Choose wise companions. Choose what nourishes purity. Choose words that draw you nearer to me. If you remain close to the source of light, you will not need to force yourself to shine. The light will naturally appear in the way you live, the way you love, the way you endure, the way you forgive, and the way you stand firm amid all that tries to pull you down. Beloved child, I did not call you to become a copy of someone else. I did not anoint you so you would compare yourself to the lamp beside you. I placed within you a distinct sound, a distinct assignment, a distinct path. Perhaps your light will touch someone no one else can reach. Perhaps your quiet faithfulness today will become a testimony to someone many years from now. Perhaps one pure choice you make will break a chain of darkness that has continued through generations. You do not need to know every outcome in order to live faithfully. You only need to remain in my hands, listen to me, and walk when I call. So rise, not in arrogance, but in peaceful obedience. Step out of the fear that you are not good enough to be used. I am not looking for those who think they are sufficient. I uphold those who know they need me. Let my light within you shine through every small action, every kind word, every holy decision, every time you choose faithfulness even when no one understands. The darkness around you may be thick, but it cannot swallow what I have kindled. You are mine, called, guarded, and anointed for the mission of this season. Keep shining, my child, not because you are perfect, but because you have surrendered, not because you are great in the eyes of the world, but because my hand is upon you, not because the road is easy, but because I walk with you in every step. My beloved child, listen to me with full alertness, because the things you choose today do not simply pass like the wind and disappear. Every decision you make is like a seed sown into the soil. Some seeds will grow into shade, some will produce thorns, and some will lie quietly beneath the earth for a long time, before emerging in a later season. You may think one small choice is insignificant, one hidden compromise no one knows about, one slight turn away from what I have reminded you will leave no trace. But I, the one who sees the end of every road, tell you that no act of obedience is meaningless, and no fall is entirely without consequence. What you choose in the secret place today can become an echo in tomorrow, in your family, in those who come after you, and even in seasons you cannot yet see from where you stand now. Therefore, do not take this moment lightly. There are seasons in your life that carry special weight, where a single yes or a single no can shape the entire path ahead. Not because I want to make you afraid, but because I love you enough not to let you sleep through an important crossroads. The enemy does not always need to make you fall by placing a deep pit before you. Many times it simply places beneath your feet a path that seems harmless, a reason that sounds reasonable, an emotion that is justified, a door you think you are only opening slightly. It is not only aiming at your moment of weakness today, it looks farther. It wants to touch your habits, the purity of your thoughts, your ability to hear my voice, the peace of your home, and the seed of faith you will pass on to those after you. My child, the most dangerous trap does not always appear clearly evil. Sometimes it is covered with convenience, with the whisper, "Just this once," with the feeling that you deserve to let go after weary days, with the thought that no one sees, so it is not serious. But what is hidden from the eyes of others remains clear before me, not so I can coldly condemn you, but so I can save you from what could quietly swallow your future. A wrong choice is not merely an action, it can open a tendency. A small compromise, if fed, will grow into a habit. A habit, if not brought into the light, will become a chain. And a chain, if you allow it to pass into the way you live, the way you love, the way you decide, will affect those who are learning from you, even when you do not realize it. But I also want you to know the opposite, so your heart will not sink into fear. One small act of obedience also has great power. One time you choose silence instead of answering in anger. One time you turn away from temptation when no one knows. One time you speak the truth, even though it costs you. One time you forgive instead of feeding bitterness. One time you pray instead of panicking. None of these things is small in my eyes. They are stones laid as the foundation of a good path. They are quiet markers of maturity. They are a fragrance rising from the hidden place. You may not see the results immediately, but I see each bright and pure choice building within you, a steadier person, a cleaner future, and a deeper stream of blessing for those who will be touched by your life. Remember Joshua when he stood before the people and called them to choose the path they would follow. It was not merely a declaration on a day of gathering. It was a foundation being laid for an entire family, an entire community, and the generations that would grow beneath the shadow of that decision. He understood that the human heart cannot forever stand between two sides, wanting to follow the light while still keeping old idols in the tent. He knew that a household is shaped by what it honors. A generation is led by what parents choose as the center, and a future is formed from present decisions. When he spoke of himself and his household, serving the Lord, he was not choosing only for himself. He was setting a holy boundary for those who belong to him. You are the same. Each time you choose me among other voices, you are building an invisible altar in your life, where those who come after can see the trace of faithfulness. Perhaps you think your life is small, that your choices do not affect many people, but you do not see all the links I am connecting. You do not know who is observing your perseverance, who is learning how to rise through the way you rise, who will be encouraged by the faithfulness you quietly keep in days when no one praises you. A father who chooses to live uprightly can give his children an inheritance more precious than wealth. A mother who chooses prayer instead of despair can sow into her home an atmosphere of peace that will still echo years later. A young person who chooses purity while the world mocks can become a sign to their friends that there is still another way. A wounded person who chooses not to take revenge can break a cycle of pain that has lasted for generations. Do you see? Your obedience can become a key that opens the way for many others. Therefore, be careful with what you allow to remain in your heart. Let me shine light on your motives before you act. Ask me before you walk through a door, simply because it is easy to open. Pause before invitations that require you to trade peace for a passing feeling. Discern between what is pleasing to the eye and what is truly wholesome, between what excites you for a moment and what leads you into enduring life. Not every opportunity comes from me. Not every connection deserves to be placed in the deep places of your heart. Not every desire needs to be nourished. There are things you must refuse, not because you are weak, but because you know you are called to a higher life. If you have chosen wrongly before, hear me. I do not speak these words to crush you with shame. I speak to awaken you, to draw you out of spiritual sleep, to remind you that there is still a road back. The marks of a fall may be real, but my grace is also real. Consequences may need to be healed, but my mercy does not run dry. You do not need to keep going farther, simply because you have already taken a wrong step. Turn back the moment you hear my voice. Lay down what is pulling you away. Let me touch the place where you compromised and renew purity within you. A decision to return today also carries spiritual weight. A true repentance today can stop a wrong current before it goes farther. One obedient step today can open a season of restoration you once thought you had lost. Live today as one who understands that tomorrow is being planted. Do not let one moment of weakness steal many years of peace. Do not trade lasting blessing for temporary ease. Do not allow a small trap to become a gateway for great pain. I do not demand that you be strong on your own. I invite you to lean on me before every choice. When you are unsure, stop and seek my voice. When you are pulled back toward what is old, call on me. When you find yourself standing between two roads, choose what brings you closer to me, even if it requires sacrifice. For every time you choose the light, you are not merely saving one moment. You are sowing into the future a holy harvest. And I, your Father, will walk with you in every choice, uphold you when you tremble, correct you when you wander, and give you the strength to leave behind not the marks of downfall, but the footprints of one who has learned to walk in obedience, wisdom, and peace. I do not want you to live like someone who must always carry the record of your pain. I do not want you to wake up every day with a heart made heavy by what others have done. You were created to walk in spaciousness, in light, in pure peace, not in the narrow room of resentment. When you refuse to forgive, you think you are keeping the other person in your hands, but in truth, you are the one being held. That person may have gone far away, may not even know you are still hurting, may never say the apology you long for, but if you keep holding tightly to bitterness, they continue to occupy space in your heart. I want to give that space back to you. I want to cleanse that place. I want the place once occupied by pain to become a dwelling place for my peace. Remember the story of Joseph, the son who was sold by his brothers, pushed away from the home he knew, and thrown into a tearful journey he never chose. He had reason to resent. He had reason to close his heart. He had reason to wait until power was in his hands, and then return every blade that had pierced him. But when the time came to face them, he did not let the old wound decide how he would act. He saw a greater hand weaving together the broken threads of his life. He did not call evil good, but he recognized that I could turn what others used to harm him into a path that would save many. Do you see? Forgiveness does not make the past disappear, but it strips the past of its right to rule your future. It does not erase memory, but it removes the knife from memory's hand. Perhaps you will ask me, how can I forgive when they have never repented? How can I release it when they have never understood how deeply they hurt me? Beloved child, forgiveness does not always require the other person to stand before you. Forgiveness begins between you and me. It is the moment you say, Father, I do not have the strength to untie this knot by myself. I place this person, this story, this pain, and the right to judge into your hands. Forgiveness is not an emotion that always comes immediately. Many times it is a choice that must be placed before me, again and again each day. Some days your heart feels lighter, some days the wound aches again. But each time you choose not to feed resentment, each time you choose not to take revenge in your thoughts, each time you hand back to me what you want to handle yourself, the chains loosen a little more. I also want you to understand that forgiveness does not mean returning to the place that wounded you. Forgiveness does not require you to open the door to abuse, erase wise boundaries, or entrust your heart again to someone who has not learned to honor what is sacred. You can forgive and still move farther away. You can forgive and still say no. You can forgive and still allow me to teach you the difference between kindness and self-harm. I am not calling you to blind softness. I am calling you to freedom filled with light, where your heart is no longer stained by the toxin of bitterness, while your mind remains guarded by wisdom. Bring the person who hurt you before me, not so you can pray for them to be crushed, but so you will stop allowing them to crush you from within. Let me handle what you cannot handle. I know how to correct without injustice, how to expose without distortion, how to restore without tolerating darkness. What is hidden from your eyes is not hidden from mine. The tears you swallowed did not fall into emptiness. The words you could not speak because the pain was too great. I heard them, therefore. You do not need to keep holding the sword of judgment. Lay it down. Your hands were not created to clench hatred. Your hands were created to receive peace, to sow goodness, and to embrace the new life I am placing before you. Beloved child, today I am not telling you to forget in an instant. I am inviting you to begin being set free. Release it, layer by layer, little by little, sigh by sigh. Let me enter the place you locked away because you were afraid of being hurt again. Let my love wash away the bitterness still lingering in your words, your gaze, and your memories. When you forgive, you do not lose. You become free. When you entrust justice to me, you are not weak. You are trusting the one who is more just than you. When you refuse bitterness, you are not denying the pain. You are declaring that this pain will not be given the right to define the rest of your life. Rise, my child, not with a hardened heart, but with a healed one. I will walk with you through this process, and step by step, the place that once was a chain will become a testimony that my mercy is stronger than every wound you have ever carried.